take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Maria. Welcome back to the booth here at the World Championship Martial Select Lift with Paul Cheon. Thank you so much for joining us for standard action, and we have another winning in. The issue is with Derrick Davis here. He just actually had one, wasn't able to get across the finish line. He gets another shot. He says, okay, let's just start over, you know, kind of pat yourself on the face, and then you look up, and it's Seth Manfield sitting across from you in, well, we're going to call it the mirror match. They're both playing Is It Lessons, though their builds are slightly different, Paul.
Yeah, they have the same core cards in terms of the Is It package and the ability to draw a bunch of cards, but you know how sometimes you play against a deck and you think they're kind of pre-sideboarded for the matchup?
Yeah.
This is exactly what it feels like here, because both decks have a lot of interaction, a lot of removal that's kind of dead in the matchup, but Derrick's main path to victory is trying to win with Eddy Merc Crabs, and Combustion Technique does a really good job of handling that. Meanwhile, Seth's main path to victory are the enchantments and artifacts, right? You talk about Artist Talent and Monument Endurance. Those are just cards that Derrick's deck is not capable of dealing with game one. The games do go long enough where eventually one of those things sticks, and then Derrick just ends up falling behind. And I kind of predict that's probably what's going to happen here, unless Derrick can get off to a really good start or be the person who maybe rattles together a bunch of Accumulate Wisdoms to just keep up with what Seth's deck is capable of.
Speaking of, Derrick was just able to keep up with Seth there. Seth had the perfect start, a Grand on turn one, but it did not stick on the battlefield. It was firebending lesson from Derrick to take it down.
Yeah, and there's just so many threats you have to answer. I mean, already a turn 2 Artist Talent, this now allows Seth to basically cycle through a lot of those dead removal spells, and Derrick's deck doesn't have access to this enchantment.
What kind of stuff is Derrick playing in lieu of that? You mentioned the Eddy Merc Crab, but what does he only have a couple of those in there?
Yeah, I think Derrick's deck is definitely a little bit better against other creature matchups. He has a little more interaction because, look, it is a cost. If you want to play 4 copies of Monument Endurance and the Artist Talent, that's 8 slots being eaten up. Instead, Derrick is choosing to play 2 copies of the Eddy Merc Crab, more It'll Quench Us, more interaction instead. So I think Derrick is probably a little bit better against, for example, the Simic Ouroboroi deck, but it's a horrible matchup going up against this version.
It's interesting, you know, a lot of times players kind of cringe when they learn they have to face the mirror, but this one has to be extra tough for Derrick.
It's really rough.
Derrick is at 9-2. He came over undefeated. Seth took a slightly different route to his 9-2 standing here. He lost the first 2 rounds yesterday. Was maybe, you know, Googling for good sandwich places in the area, and then just rattled off all wins yesterday and hasn't lost today either to find himself at 9-2. And let's just say those 2 losses are very much in the rearview mirror for him at this point.
Yeah, and Seth's already leveled up the Artist Talents. Now you can just start rummaging through your deck. Yeah. This is 1 mana.
Can't have both.
Sugar.
Yeah. Derrick going, do you choose the 1 damage mode or the 4 damage mode? I will choose 4.
Good clarification, Derrick. Way to stay on top of it.
And Seth with a Boomerang Basics, probably not looking to pick up the Artist Talent as he's already invested 5 mana. Does have up It'll Quench. That is a 1-of in that deck.
Just to keep him honest.
Right? You have the 1, can still play around it. Hey, it's going to work here.
And there's abandoned attachments.
Right, and if you're in Seth's side, you have to think, It'll Quench is not just going to get too many cards. Might just be looking to fire it off here. Remember, Derrick doesn't have another good way to get rid of dead removal spells in hand. So not only do you get that extra rummage, dig a little bit deeper here to find Accumulate Wisdom, but you make it so that Derrick can potentially be stuck with cards in his hand that he doesn't want.
Yeah, and you know, speaking of cards in your hand that you don't want, Seth Manfield gets rid of Grand here. Just feels like that's one of those cards that Derrick has a lot of extra answers for.
Yeah, in this particular matchup, you know, we talk about how powerful of an effect Grand is. This is not the matchup where Grand really shines because both decks are playing 4 copies of Firebending Lesson, 4 copies of Combustion Technique, and it's literally the only creature that matters. So it's just going to have a target on its head. You typically just want to rummage it away.
This is Roiling Dragonstorm from Derrick Davis. It's a funny addition.
Yeah.
given that the only way you can pick it up is by like boomerang basicing or something.
Yeah, and that's exactly the reason why. I remember when I looked at this list, I went, are there any dragons? It's like, no, this deck just needs another permanent to bounce because it doesn't play Roaring Furnace. All it's got are the 4 copies of Storm Chaser Talent, so it wanted a little more redundancy to get the game, to get the ball rolling with Boomerang Basics, and it's an awesome card to bounce off of it. So, decent board here. I mean, Derrick,
Somehow
very
Derrick's
solid draw.
A little Eddie Merc crab flooded at the moment.
Yeah. But Seth really needs to try to get, it's kind of one of those things at this point, we're kind of just waiting to find that accumulate wisdom, because once you find that first one, it just kind of unlocks your deck here.
Oh, interesting. He's going to use a combustion technique.
Yeah, digging here.
That is one of the answers that he likes to have on hand for the crab.
Yeah.
But he is unaware of it currently.
Oh, great draw here.
What did he hit?
Abandon attachments.
Oh, geez.
With it on the stack here, you can actually, the Artist Talent resolves first, because that's on the stack. You pitch away the Agnakella, see what you find. If it's an Accumulate Wisdom, you probably won't discard it. And that is a land, and now he'll find 2 cards. Monument to Endurance would be a great draw here, and he finds the Wisdom. Oh. There it is.
Here we go. Off to the races. Derrick Davis can only smile. You know, when the players were testing this and when they talk about it, you and I had a chat with Matt Nass and Sam Party this morning when we were on our way over to the convention center, and they literally just call it Ancestral Recall.
I mean, it basically is at this point. I mean, you are spending 1 mana to draw. Actually, with the Artist Talent, you're looking at 4 cards here, right? And, you know, at this point, Seth is just getting the ball rolling. Again, no answer for this Artist Talent. No pressure on the board for Derrick Davis. He's going to be really leaning on these Eddie Merc crabs to somehow get the job done. But with what's going on here, I just don't think that's going to work.
They see so many cards, and you know what often ends up happening, of course, is once you get that first one rolling, it just ends up being that you can find more. And hey, right on time, an Accumulate Wisdom shows up.
Yeah, and Derrick
in the side there.
Derrick knows how this plays out, and Seth actually choosing to keep Firebending Lesson, recognizing the path to a loss at this point are those Eddie Merc crabs. You can actually, of course, you don't see it that often, but you can kick the Firebending Lesson for 4 mana with that Artist Talent in play to deal 5 damage to the Eddie Merc crabs.
Wow, this matchup seems really tough for
it is brutal. And I think we kind of talked about it when we were kind of, when we were in the off round. I was just going, man, it would be really unfortunate for Derrick to just continue playing against this specific build of the Is It Lessons deck. I go, what if Derrick just plays against members of Team TCG Player over the next 3 rounds? He's going to be in a world of hurt.
Yeah, and so far, well, 2 of those 3 have happened. And the hurt is happening. He took a loss last round, and well, he's behind fairly significantly in Game 1 against Manfield here, too, and facing this tough matchup.
Seth has 2 more Accumulate Wisdoms in hand. Unless all 4 Monument to Endurances are on the bottom 4 cards of his deck, Seth will be able to pull this out. Yeah, one thing when this deck really gets going like this, you start counting the cards in your library. You just actually, you end up drawing too many cards. And we do a spell check here on Derrick's graveyard. That looks like 5 spells in the graveyard. So Eddie Merc Crab can be cast here for 3 mana at end of turn. Seth, of course, very, very aware of that possibility. But remember, he's still sitting at 18 life and only attacks for 5. And he did find, both
double
of the Monument to Endurances here.
Monument first.
Take a look at what Monument to Endurance does. In this deck, it does a tremendous amount of work.
Yeah, and a 1-2 punch. I mean, this is kind of more or less the combo to this deck, right? You're playing a deck with a bunch of cheap spells. You find Artist Talent into Monument to Endurance, and at that point, you will win the game, right? It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, you read it and you see how it's meant to be played, where it's like, well, you can only max out at 3 of these, and oftentimes you'd maybe only get 1 or 2.
Right.
But this deck can very easily do 3, then pick it up, recast it, and do 3 more, or do 3 on your turn, 3 on their turn.
Yeah, and that's the cool interaction that you highlighted about the Monument Endurance. You know, if you feel like you want more triggers when everything's cheap, if you pick it up with Boomerang Basics and you replay it, you get to use all 3 abilities again if you want.
Inevitability very much in the hands of Seth Manfield here. Derrick really can do nothing but just stare on as we see Seth generate more and more value.
Just update. It's just clumps of 4 cards at a time.
We have to give a shout out to our card in hand viewers. You know, they stand behind the players and they have an iPad.
They're going to get carpal
they
tunnel
can use
after
to
this.
search. But this is like, I mean, I've done that job before. I did it in the Sphinx's Revelation days.
Oh,
like
that
I
is
know
rough.
what it's like.
Yeah.
This is probably the hardest I've ever seen.
Right.
Because it's not just cards going into hand, it's also cards leaving.
Right.
Right. So you look like a professional typist, you know, where you're just going real quick.
Derrick with the sheepish Eddie Merc crab.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, we'll try to get something going here. One mana, abandon attachments.
I will discard, draw, and then draw another card. Or sorry, I will. This is still on the stack. I will discard, draw.
Yeah.
And then
Monument
draw another,
triggers.
and then I will discard, draw, make a treasure.
So when he said make a treasure, that's like one of the monuments making the treasure for the
And
turn.
this resolves.
And one of them's already made a treasure for the turn. You can draw more cards.
Discard.
But we're getting to the point where he's going to start burning Derrick Davis here.
So that's a 5/5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and he found Combustion Technique here, so he can
Very
use
scary.
that too if he wants.
Draw.
Derrick's just laughing. I mean,
Well, because he just knows this game is just lost.
yeah, he just,
Yeah.
he's like, come on.
We know where this one's going.
That'll bring us to game 2. Now, the question here, Paul, does the sideboard offer any reprieve from Davis? You know, sometimes sideboarding isn't just about bringing in cards that are good.
Alan, get
It's
the order. Go
about
ahead.
getting a bunch of stuff in your main deck that's just blanks and turn it into something that can be playable.
I just think the fundamental strategy is just really hard to beat. Izzet decks just have a really, really tough time with Resolved Enchantment. So if Artist Talent ever resolves, it's just so hard to get that off the battlefield, and Seth just gets to kind of churn through the deck. There's 2 copies of Abrade, and there's 2 copies of Negate. Now, those are very, very important cards in the matchup. Abrade can, at the very least, you can use it to kill the Grand if you need, but of course it also kills the Monument here. And of course, the Negate you can also use to try to deal with things. But, I mean, this is another turn to Artist Talent here from Seth Manfield.
We see Storm Chasers into Boomerang Basics replay it. Boomerang Basics killed the original Otter, it looks like.
Yeah, look, Seth is, I mean, they're both control decks, but I think Derrick wants to be a little more aggressive and Seth wants to be a little more controlling because Seth's deck has ultimate inevitability in this matchup. And Seth, once again, we saw this previously, ticking up the Artist Talent, basically kind of doing its own Grand impersonation. Reducing the cost of all your spells by 1 is so big in this matchup. And, you know, the only way to get it off the battlefield, of course, is Boomerang Basics from Derrick's side of the battlefield. If he finds one, he probably wants to use it, right? I mean, that's 5 mana that Seth Manfield used to tick this up.
And he just found one.
Yeah, and that's big.
So nice tempo play here. The Otter does get to crack in for a couple of damage.
And Grand is online as well. 3 lessons in the graveyard.
Okay, let's go, Derrick. Grand. A lot of text for 1 mana. Like, there's a lot going on there.
There is a lot going on. I mean, this thing can loot for you. It's a cost reduction effect. We've seen, you know, cards like Goblin Electromancer just see a lot of play. 2 mana effect for this, but this thing costs only 1.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. You know, this deck is going, gosh, I just really need something that makes them 1 cheaper. I have one effect that does that. I just need 1 more. And it's like, and I need another discard outlet. You know, and Grand like raises her hand
like,
there on the artwork.
I can do everything.
Right, I got you covered. And by the way, I'm only 1 mana. The downside to Grand is that she's a creature, right? Vulnerable to all different types of removal spells. But only costing 1 mana means, you know, you can often get that at least 1 swing in with it.
What's interesting here is actually, I think Grand gets better after sideboarding happens, because at some point, like, it's really, you have a lot of good cards to bring in, but what do you board out? And I feel like oftentimes you're going to be looking to board out some of the interaction. You'll definitely keep in all 4 copies of the combustion technique, because that kills everything, including, of course, we saw Quantum Riddlers coming out of the sideboard. But you know, you're gonna lose some removal, and that then Grand gets a little bit better. It's a negate, I think. Okay, loot resolves, but Derrick Davis does have Idle
negate
Quencha.
on the stock up?
Yes, but Derrick Davis does have Idle Quencha here with an active Grand. So, I mean, this is exactly what he needs to try to keep pace with Seth Manfield. Seth has the artist talent, doesn't have the monument endurance, and right now Derrick is the one who's, you know, firmly ahead on resources here.
Derrick pretty quickly decided which cards he wanted there. I think there was an Accumulate Wisdom in there at the. Oh yeah, there is.
Yeah,
and it looks like he's got Spider Sense.
That hand is
Combustion
great.
Technique.
Oh, and gets to run out Accumulate Wisdom here. So, I mean, this does feel like just a flip side, right? Kind of the first person to resolve the Accumulate Wisdom to get to 3 cards with that Grand. So Derrick is looking very, very good here. Has 3 counterspells in hand here. Now, noting that Spider Sense will not actually counter the Monument, but you do have that negate. So ticking up once again, and probably looking to kill the Grand if possible. Ooh, but tapped. Oh, it had to use the red mana here, but if this gets countered, it's going to be kind of annoying here. Now, if you're on Derrick's side, do you counter it? Do you pick up the Grand? You can always just pick it up with the Spider Sense, use the web slinging effect.
Right.
Because if you're afraid that the negate's going to get countered, you can just pick up Grand with Spider Sense. Yep. And he does it, because you could just cast it for the 1 mana. So this makes a lot more sense. You just pick up the Grand to make sure Seth can't fight you back with a counterspell, and you can just replay the Grand. Because Grand's, ooh.
Spider Sense?
No, this is an Accumulate Wisdom. Are we drawing 3
cards
here?
Oh, in response, I see.
It does look like it. Okay, so that was big here for Seth. Finding cards of his own. Plenty of resources on both sides.
Wow. So in the first game, we saw what happened when Seth resolved Accumulate Wisdom and then was able to snowball that into all the value. Derrick did so first this game, but now Seth has one too. What happens when they both get to do all the things?
Look at this. Seth with a free Soul Guide Lantern, because it costs 0 mana off of the artist talent now, and just instantly removing Derrick Davis's graveyard. So now there will be no 3 Lessons Matter shenanigans that can occur this turn.
Okay, so that's off the table. I assume the Eddie Merc crabs aren't in the list anymore?
I would imagine you board those out just because Combustion Technique so cleanly answers it. Yeah, and look, I mean, we're only on 1 lesson in the graveyard. There's an Accumulate Wisdom, but you never really want to cast it here unless you can draw the 3 cards.
There's Grand back on the battlefield.
Yeah, and Derrick Davis still has access to 2 counterspells, right? You can spend 2 mana to cast Negate. You can pick up your Otter token to also cast Spider Sense. This artist talent doing so much work here for Seth Manfield. Everything basically just costing 1 mana. You can dig with the Abandoned Attachments. You can fire off Iroh's Demonstration to try to get Grand off the board. Oh, is he going to tick it up to level 3 and then cast Iroh's Demonstration to deal 3 damage to everything? Right? I think he's considering that here. Yeah?
Yeah, he is.
You don't see this that often, but he's going for it here. Now, remember, Derrick Davis does have a counterspell.
Yeah. Derrick's like, what does this do?
Yeah, Artist Talent. The 3rd mode, anything that, any damage, non-creature damage that will be dealt, deals 2 extra damage. So that's 3 damage, potentially, going at both of these creatures. Now, Derrick, of course, does have Negate and Spider Sense here for Iroh's Demonstration, just trying to figure out which one's better to play. My inclination is Spider Sense because he has so much mana. No, goes for the Negate. Okay. Mm-hmm. So still has access to Spider Sense, and then Seth is now going to try to dig for a counterspell here with Abandoned Attachments for 1 mana.
Gets rid of an island.
Okay, and then see if it resolves. And if it resolves, we'll be discarding another. Oh, and found a negate.
Oh, he actually found it?
He actually found a negate, but Derrick, again, has the other counterspell here.
With what, that spider sense left over?
Yeah, yeah, he would lose the token, though, right? He has to pick up the otter to counter the demonstration if he wants, or he can just let it resolve.
Mm-hmm. But then he'd lose the otter anyway, right?
Right.
But he'd also not have access to spider sense down the line.
Yeah, and then Seth's thinking, if I'm tap out, what's kind of the worst that can happen? Right? There's not too much other than Derrick resolving a bunch of accumulate wisdoms, of course,
right.
with 3 lessons in the graveyard. And Seth actually choosing not to fight. Oh, finds another Iroh's demonstration. So can just cast that here instead, or just pass and keep up negate and just go, hey, I'm at 10 life. I'm probably not dead. Okay, choosing to go for it here. Probably doesn't want to discard any of the cards in his hand, right? There's a negate and a monument to endurance.
Right.
But Spider Sense resolves. The rummage is on the stack, but I think he likes his hand. Yep.
So the end result after all that is Derrick's out of counters and still has Gran.
There is a Gran. There's 1 lesson in the graveyard. You can attack with Gran to loot, but even if you do find another lesson, that would be number 2. Might actually be kind of forced to run out Accumulate Wisdom just to try to find other cards.
Ooh.
Remember, Derrick also plays Stock Up in his deck. So if you can Wisdom in the Stock Up to try to find more negates, that could be a path to victory. All right, actually just looking to just keep up the counter spell here, knowing, look, if Seth resolves a monument to endurance, it is an absolute disaster, but Seth does have the negate backup here as well.
Yeah, Seth having ultimately lost that counter battle the last turn, but still got a creature off the board and has maybe exhausted Derrick of his ability to fight back here.
Yeah, and this talent just doing so much work here for Seth Manfield. Negate is going to allow Seth to win the counter war here and resolve the Monument to Endurance. And now we have the combo online. Now remember, Derek Davis does have a couple of braids in the sideboard. Unclear if he brought it in. Probably would be willing to bring it in, given that not only is there Monument to Endurance, but we've also seen Sam Party board in cards like Soul Guide Lantern, so potentially something to use for that as well.
Yeah, Seth had one earlier too. So what happens now from Seth's side? You said the combo's online. What's a card he could draw to get things rolling?
So right now, with only 1 card in hand, the combo is currently not online.
Okay.
You need to be able to start rummaging. So once Seth finds the second card, literally, like if he draws a card for the turn, you play Storm Chaser's Talent, you start discarding cards to the Artist Talent, you start drawing extra cards off the Monument to Endurance, and then the game just kind of snowballs out of control. So if you notice there, Seth actually choosing not to play the Talent there, and actually waiting till he draws a card next turn, so he can just discard whatever he draws next turn. Because if you play the Talent this turn, and then you draw another spell next turn, you're still not doing it.
You're not actually getting any headway. Yeah. All right. Well, this is a big turn for Derek Davis.
Oh, that's lesson number 3.
Yes, and then he Grand's into Firebending lesson.
Yeah, and this is draw 3 cards.
We've actually got that Ancestral Recall mode.
Oh, and he finds Stock Up.
Stock Up,
okay,
too.
Okay, so he's... Oh, and that's another... I think that might have been an Abrade, too, Marshall. That might be a Braid.
What a turn
That might be a Braid
Derrick.
and Accumulate Wisdom.
Really?
Oh, wow.
That has to be the 2 best cards.
That is incredible. Oh, that is brutal. And Derrick's going to have
Seth can do.
And Derrick's going to have a full grip here. Another Wisdom. So he cast 2 Wisdoms and a Stock Up this turn.
This is wild, and he knocked the combo out for Seth Manfield too. Seth was like, I did so much work to get those counters out of your hand and set up my combo. You had a 1-turn window, and Derrick just bashed that window through.
Yeah, finding that Firebending lesson, just any lesson there was so big just to be able to turn on the Accumulate Wisdom and the Gran. So now Derrick has
Banded Attachments was massive there. Loaded up the graveyard.
Yeah, so now we might just have to fire off this Abandoned Attachments here just to get things going. But remember, Storm Chaser's Talent can also let you dig. Now Seth is looking through the graveyard thinking, okay, you got to do your thing. It's my turn. You know, I had a big turn lined up, but now the Monument's gone. He needs to find another one here.
Seth has gotten chipped down.
Derrick Davis.
8.
Derrick Davis, just to put things in perspective here, he drew 8 cards and killed Seth's biggest threat all in one turn.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Because of Grand. All right, Storm Chaser's talent comes down. You can still rummage away the abandoned attachments. Maybe you can find something like a monument here. But you can, of course, also go to level 2 on the talent, get something back. Perhaps a negate. Oh, of course, accumulate wisdom. Discard the multiversal passage, draw 4 cards. So both decks are just drawing all the cards. The question is,
are we going to get library counts coming in at some point?
Here's the thing, though: if both decks are drawing a ton of cards, Derrick only has the 2 abrades, right? And how is Derrick going to actually kill Seth Manfield?
Right. He has to find a way to actually get the job done and keep Seth off of the combo indefinitely.
Right.
By the way, we have a rare consensus in chat, Paul.
And what's that?
Grandcestral recall.
Okay.
That's what they're going to call it now.
All right. Fair enough.
It has been decided.
I don't know if I'm ready to lock that in yet. I'm not, but there have been worse things.
I said the chat had consensus, not the booth with the chat. All right, talent's coming back down after getting boomerang basics back to hand there for
and look
Derrick.
At Derrick. He knows.
Did he get the negate?
He got the negate. He's like, this is how I lose, right? The way that I lose is Seth finds Monument to Endurance and gets that going. So now I do have some otters in play. And my plan here is to just make sure that I can prevent you from resolving the monument here. And still, look, Seth found a monument, but because he knows about the negate, he needs to run out some Storm Chaser's talents or some removal effects here to try to find a backup counterspell to get that monument to resolve. Yeah, I don't even think Seth is going to play the Monument to Endurance. Now, he does have Storm Chaser's talent. He could level that up and get the negate of his own, right? And then get ready for a counter war on the next turn.
Paul, are there going to be a lot of these in the top 8?
There's going to be a fair amount of Visit Lessons deck.
There's one already.
There's one already, and Seth is up a game here.
And after here, there's going to be 2 because this is a winning.
Right, that's right. There's going to be 2 Visit Lessons deck, and there's a good chance one of these players, even after a loss, can make it, right? Because they still have 2 more win-ins after this.
Exactly. Seth's up a game currently against Derrick, but Derrick is really fighting the good fight here.
Right, and Seth recognizing, okay, look, both of us are drawing a ton of cards. The way that I lose is somehow these otter tokens get out of hand.
And somehow, I take 8.
Right, somehow Derrick resolves ways to kill both of Seth's tokens. So Seth's just wanting to clear the board. Doesn't have to go for the monument just yet, and just kind of wait. Now Seth wondering, I can't, these cards are both not great here. Do I just level up Storm Chaser's talent and tap out? And then if you're tapped out and then you're on Derrick's side, you're like, can I cast 7 spells this turn? Like, is it possible? With the Grand, you might.
Yeah, what does he have, 9 lands currently?
Right. He's got
That's not even that hard.
So Seth is tapped out. So think about it here. I mean, look, you have an Abrade you can cast. You have an Abandoned Attachments. You have a Grand in your hand that can kind of make everything cheaper.
One of them has to be something to kill the opposing otter.
Yeah, so Derrick just needs to, it's tough, but Derrick would need to cast 6 spells to kill Seth Manfield here. One of course, would be the Abrade for the otter. So here we go. Derrick, can you rattle off 6 spells in a row to pump up this otter, get that otter off the battlefield, and kill Seth while the shields are down?
So much mana available. Storm Chaser's talent.
So that's 1 spell so far, Abandoned Attachments. Talent to spell number 2. Abrade is 3. You can quench your own spell. That's 4.
That's over 5 halfway,
damage.
Yeah.
That's 5 damage.
And that Abrade, by the way, is, the thing you can use to kill the opposing otter, so that checkbox is marked here too.
I wonder if he wants to just get back maybe and accumulate wisdom. Yeah, I don't think he has enough, so he's just making an attack here. And now if you're Seth, you're going, Can you really rattle off 5 spells at instant speed here? Probably not. But
At this point, if I'm Seth, I'm going, I really hope not.
Right,
like,
right.
Starting to get nervous.
And now I think Derrick's probably just going to get more negates, possibly. Yeah, gets back Spider Sense, sure. And takes additional damage here. And will be able to run out another talent. So lots of pressure with Counterspell backup here. So now he's got Spider Sense and Negate.
Okay.
Double Counterspell. So now if Seth goes Monument, Derrick goes Negate, right? And then Seth goes Negate, and then Derrick Davis can go Spider Sense onto Negate, because Spider Sense can't actually counter the Monument, but if you have a Counter War, it can counter other instants or sorceries.
So what does Seth need to do here? Try to kill the threats? Like,
Yeah, I think you want to just kind of play the control game where you're just rummaging through your deck, just find more Accumulate Wisdoms, draw a bunch of cards, and just try to get rid of these otters. Ooh, look at that. Derrick firing off Spider Sense on
Firebending lesson?
Yeah.
So he's going to try to protect his otters.
And Seth going for Boomerang Basics now. Will this also get countered?
That was a trigger resolving for Artist Talent, but no.
No, it does not.
Derrick says, I will allow it.
And remember, Seth knows about the Negate in Derrick Davis's hand.
Right.
Combustion Technique is a way to get one of these creatures off the battlefield. Targeting, I think it was Grand.
Yep. You can see he finally found his Monument to Endurance. In fact, 2 of them, but that might have been a turn prior that he really needed those. Now he's a little bit more in survival mode.
Yeah. Now, one of these Monuments might be able to stick here. Okay, so he's going for the Negate here.
He's
so now,
protecting his board.
Yeah, he is. And then now what all Seth can do is play Monument, rummage the Spirebluff Canal. Would love to find another interactive spell here. If you can find Iroh's Demonstration, right, you can just wipe out your opponent's board. Remember, Artist Talent is at the maximum level here.
So it's 3 damage to everything.
Right.
Oh, and there you go.
That's an It'll Quench Ya.
It'll quench ya.
Okay, on the Monument, so that'll tap out Seth if he lets it resolve. And the thing is, the other option is just playing out the other Monument, so he probably will, because he has no other plays here, right?
Right.
So maybe he just pays the 2 mana. So then now you ask yourself from the other side, it's like, all right, I'm tapped out. I got 2 tokens. Do you have enough to kill me? He probably does. He's got
And the
enough
answer
braid.
is yeah,
Yes.
right? The Abrade knocks him down to 1. Blocker gives 2/2/2.
And you have Storm Chaser's Talent on 1. You leveled that up as well and killed the other creature.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get both of them out of the way. And Derrick Davis takes down game number 2 from Seth Manfield. That one went for a little while, Paul. We're going to actually take a short break here. But when we come back, we're going to finish the story between Derrick Davis and Seth Manfield. So don't you go anywhere. And welcome back to coverage here of the Magic World Championship. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. I'm with Paul Cheon. We are in Bellevue, Washington, just east of Seattle, here in the Great Pacific Northwest. And yes, it's cloudy here. What you heard was true. Welcome back. So we've got a little bit of a situation down in our main feature match area here. There is and was a prolonged judge call. Nothing bad, but something where they had to maybe rewind some stuff and try to get it sorted out. So while they're doing that, since we don't want to just, be watching that happening, we're going to watch one of our other win-and-ins, which is Jean-Emmanuel Depra versus Masataka Hori. And you can see that they both are on 9-2, which means a win would get you through. We will do our best to get back to Derrick Davis versus Seth Manfield as well, so we can catch the conclusion of that. But we want to allow that judge call to get sorted out, and then we will rejoin once possible. But for now, we're going to join Jean-Emmanuel versus Masataka, and this is game number 2 with Masataka Hori up a game, and he is playing Teamer Otters.
Yep.
And is it looting on the other side here for Jean-Emmanuel?
Yeah, up a game here. Now, this is a really interesting matchup here, right? A lot of it just comes down to how much pressure can JD put on Masataka before he combos off with the Teamer Otters deck. It doesn't take that much. Sometimes this deck is just capable of kind of winning out of nowhere. But of course, after sideboard, you're going to have access to a lot more interaction. JD has, for example, cards like Annul, which I think would do some work, especially because it is a clean answer to cards like a Roaring Furnace. And of course, you also have the Enduring Vitality, which is an enchantment creature that you can counter.
You see the quick start here from Jean-Emmanuel. Pair of Otters, bunch of cards in hand.
By the way, Masataka with probably the most blinged out deck in the tournament.
Man.
Every single card is foil, I think.
I'm catching glimmers off that thing. It's nice. That was a Thunder Trap trainer.
Yep, it seems that way. So that one, not the best blocker in this type of matchup, just because JD just has so many spells he can cast here. And this is exactly the type of start that you want if you're on JD side of the battlefield here. Get a couple of Otters going, put a lot of pressure on Masataka to try to have him, go for the combo and then have the right piece, a well-timed piece of interaction to kind of stop that from happening.
Sure.
Yeah, Winter Night Stories here. Frostcliff Siege is a nice way to get in for a ton of damage out of nowhere as well. Really, really powerful card draw spell in this deck. Both Otters at 2 power now. This card working super well with cards like Duelist of the Mind and Tiger Seal.
We got a chance to see Jean-Emmanuel play yesterday a little bit with exactly those cards doing good work for him.
Losing to the Is It Lessons deck.
Which we've seen also happen a lot this weekend so
right.
far.
So remember, you can either discard a creature or 2 cards. Oftentimes you want to discard just 1. But it looks like JE doesn't have a creature that he wants to discard here, so he has to kind of choose wisely. It's a big decision point, pitching 2 cards.
Sure. Yeah, 13.
Yeah.
Attack for 4.
Yeah, good amount of damage coming in. So Roaring Furnace, I believe.
So 1 Otter down.
Yeah, slowing things down here. If he has a Boomerang Basics, would be interested in picking that up, maybe. That is Ghost Vacuum, I'm going to say.
Okay,
Yeah.
I buy it. That is the place on the battlefield where I would put a Ghost Vacuum.
That's where I would put a
I'm
Ghost
with you.
Vacuum too, yes. Yeah, a lot of it's alternate too, so.
Man, Hori's got some style.
Oh, yeah.
Ghost Vac.
Yep. Winter Night Stories, because you don't want your Otters to grow, to make it easy to harmonize.
Take 2 for blue.
Take Ghost Vacuum there.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and now you're going to give things haste, prowess, 7 damage coming in. Masataka down to 6 already.
Yeah, this is the aggressive version that Jean-Emmanuel plays, and you can see
Right.
it is doing the thing.
7 damage.
Masataka would,
6. Depra?
Masataka would love to find a pyroclasm effect if he even boarded it. But you wouldn't bring it in this matchup because so many of the creatures in JD's deck has 3 toughness, right? We're looking at Tiger Seals, Fear of Missing Outs, Duelist of the Mines. So pyroclasm not that effective here.
A good sigh there from Hori.
Yes.
And
Okay.
that's from a player who's down to 4.
And has access to 2 mana, Enduring Vitality. Okay.
No leader, please.
Yeah. What do you say?
I couldn't hear him.
2 cards left.
2 cards, yeah.
No good spell, please would be my guess.
Probably he also
just
wanted to know
mana.
how many cards left.
Yeah, remember, these are 2/1 prowess tokens with trample.
Jean-Emmanuel, a couple of removal spells or additional creatures away.
Right. If you can get, if you, for example, warped in a Quantum Riddler, that would just be game.
Right.
Duelist of the Mind, possibly, along with a spell to commit a crime. Right? Duelist of the Mind would come into play as a 2/3 trampler, so then you would cast a card, you would connive, or excuse me, commit a crime, and then loot, and then that would be an extra card, so that would put it up to 3 power, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Bounce vitality.
Ooh, that is
That's into the
big.
Flood Maw.
So that is, now there's only 3 toughness with going up against 6 power here right now. So 1 more spell and that's game, right?
Yeah, just anything because of trample.
Yeah, there's 6 trample damage coming in with 3 toughness. Those would take Masataka down to 1.
Any creatures good here?
A creature, I think he has a Duelist of the Mind in hand, right?
I think we're going to see it right now.
Yeah?
On my talons.
Oh,
Okay,
no, I'm
well,
wrong.
this is just more than enough.
But
Yeah,
whatever,
oh my
it's yet
gosh.
another spell.
That's
and
like a million
that will
damage.
Be plenty. Yeah, that actually was overkill there. So Jean-Emmanuel Depra is going to even things up and force a Game 3 decider in this win-in match. I brushed over it coming in, but this is about as high stakes as it gets going into Saturday. 9-2 record for both of our players and a coveted seat in the World Championship top 8 on the line here.
Right, and JD already a world champion. I believe 2 World Championship top 8s at the very least that I can recall. And we already got the chance to see his card. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah,
Why not make it number 2?
23, he took the whole thing down.
Yeah.
We have Seth Manfield on our other feature match. He won it in 2015.
Yeah.
Yep.
Javier Dominguez was still in the mix. He's won 2.
I mean, he's only won 2 world champions.
Only 2.
Yeah.
Second card still TBD.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? Yeah.
Guess it would be kind of cool if you just made a whole deck.
Yeah, it has to be like another red human knight or something to go with the fervent champion.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can just make a whole deck out of
Yeah.
World Championship cards, oh man.
I mean, most people's goal is just to get 1 card, but when you're in Javier's seat, you got to
Yeah.
start dreaming a little. You know?
What else do you play for?
Right.
Right?
Jean-Emmanuel's next one has to be something he can fetch up with his OG card.
Oh yeah, like something that just wins you the game.
Yeah.
For sure.
Sure.
All right. Fear of missing out here for Jean-Emmanuel. He's going to pass the turn back.
Things starting off a little bit slower here for
Right.
JED, right? And that's not where you want to be necessarily against this Teamer Otters deck that can just almost kill you out of nowhere, right? You just kind of say go, they flash something in, get Enduring Vitality and play, and all of a sudden they have access to so much mana. So Masataka here with land number 3 taking some extra points of damage. Does he just run out? Enduring Vitality, right? This would be a good opportunity. Oh, actually chooses to play Stock Up here, which is an excellent card. It's trying to piece together the combo pieces here, right? Won't be able to attack here, but given that this time Hori is on the play, And without the Storm Chaser's talents, he is able to get away with doing this and not still feel the pressure here. But Frostcliff Siege here from JED. This is 3 damage coming in. It almost always names the teamer side here. So now Hori is going to go down to 13. Cards like Quantum Riddler is going to be super strong. Any number of prowess cards would also be great here. So now there's a lot more pressure here for Masataka Hori to get something done. But of course, he did cast that stock up.
Vitality?
Oh, tapped out. That's a Vitality. Has access to at least 2 mana now with that Otter in play.
It's too good.
Oh, geez.
Oh, yeah. That's a Heritage Reclamation, I believe.
It is.
So that gets the very threatening Frostcliff
yeah.
Siege off the battlefield here. And now Masataka has a great blocker for fear of missing out. You don't even care if the Enduring Vitality dies, right? You're like, okay, whatever. I care mostly about its effect, which allows all your creatures to tap for mana. Now, if JED had something like Enchantment plus Torch to Tower, that would be some way to kind of get it off the battlefield here.
18. Blue.
Sure.
Another one?
Looks like it.
Sure.
Okay.
Dinner.
Maybe a way to get that Vitality off the battlefield. We're not at Delirium just yet.
No, he's only got the 2 cards there.
I think Hori is okay possibly with the trade here. Oh, just takes it. Okay. Now remember, JD, I did see a Torch to Tower. Probably just wants to use it right away.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. That is exiled. And you get a Scry.
But it is pretty steep cost there.
Of course, yes. That's you just 2 for 1 yourself.
Exactly.
But you did slow Masataka from comboing off.
Yeah, that bargain cost. He's thankful he's able to pay it
Right.
Sure.
with the fear of missing out, but it is a steep cost, no doubt about it.
Absolutely. But if JED has something like a Quantum Riddler in hand, you don't mind being down cards as much because you'll just get it back by warping in the Riddler next turn. Haven't seen a Badger Mole Cub yet here from Masataka's side.
I did get an update, by the way, on Seth versus Derrick. We have the judge call resolved.
Okay.
And after this match, I'll give an update on that I got at least. Yeah, I mean, these are always difficult to suss out, but we have the info, and we'll join that match again as well, so we can see who wins it.
Yeah.
But now I don't want to leave this one.
Yeah.
Because we've got a game 3 for top 8.
Just a casual top 8 slot on the line here. Probably should finish the match.
Yeah, might as well.
I'm not.
Still a couple more rounds to go
look at
today,
this
too.
Sauna to draw some cards.
Wow, this deck is
right.
really something else.
Now remember, this is just lethal.
Whoa!
What? 10 damage out of nowhere. Double
get
warped
it back.
Quantum Riddler
Yeah,
on
yeah,
You
second
right,
Frostcliff.
kidding me?
I'm annoyed
So that's
to
2
stop here,
5-powered
but
haste
nothing to
flyers?
do.
What? I was just thinking about one Riddler. I didn't expect 10 damage.
Jean-Emmanuel just drops both of those on the battlefield and says, "Is that the game?" And the answer is yes,
my
it
God.
is. And did you see that?
I mean, doing it in
Masataka
style.
goes, "Wow." Now he's not done. Masataka still has chances to win here, but that is Jean-Emmanuel Depraz securing a top 8 seat.
Unbelievable. 3rd top 8, I believe, has an opportunity to win the World Championship twice.
Wow, and he has a flair to him.
I mean, did you see what he did there? He's just like...
And
You're tapped
Masataka's
out?
like,
10.
wow, okay.
That's all you can say, right?
Yeah, that's incredible.
Oh my goodness.
Didn't even want to see the cards,
You can't even
just
play
get
around
that
it, right?
damage
The
in.
thing is, Masataka was showing, I had a Boomerang Basics. Well, see, that's the thing. Did have the opportunity to Boomerang Basics the Frostcliff Siege, but it's a calculated risk. What are the chances that your opponent has double Quantum Riddler? Also,
Yeah.
he could have possibly drawn the basics off of the Sauna, right, on the draw. But yeah, I mean, what a way to win with for JD there.
Absolutely incredible. All right, so let me give you the update that we have from that judge call. So what happened was Seth cast Iroh's demonstration with do one to everything mode, thinking he had the artist talent on level 3 so that it would do 3 to everything. That wasn't the case.
Ooh.
So, but it kind of played out that way on the board. So he wiped out all of Derrick's creatures at that moment. Then Seth casts Abandoned Attachments. He rummages from the talent. He gets a monument trigger to deal 3. He rummages from a second talent. He discards a card, draws 2 from Abandoned Attachments, right? So this is a lot of things happening. And then they go, wait a minute. Why did that do 3 to everything?
Oh.
So they get the judge come over. It's a game rule violation. We call it a GRV.
Okay.
It's a warning to Seth. So that's what that is. But what happens is they decided, the judge said this is rewindable. Some situations are just not if there's too much information that couldn't be known. But they actually were able to undo that whole sequence of discard, draw in order, having them put the random cards back on top of the library, undo the draws, etc. So Derrick's creatures are still alive. Seth knows what's on top, but the rummage sequence may play out differently depending on, because the board state's different now. The alternative of leaving the board state as it were, meaning Derrick has nothing, was considered much worse than what they did come up with. So
okay,
that's where we're at.
That's
why that took a while.
I'm excited to see this board state. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot going on, and we are going to get to see this Game 3 decider here. Derrick Davis versus Seth Manfield for top 8.
All right. Well, we'll see where we're at here. I imagine there's... Okay.
Yep, it's messy.
There are some... So Seth has his combo going here. We have 2 copies of Artist Talent and a Monument to Endurance, but there are a couple of otters. Seth is down to 8 life here. So maybe there's a world where Derrick Davis can string together enough spells here to try to close things out here, especially because the Iroh's demonstration failed to actually kill all of those creatures.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see that demonstration in the yard, so we're joining just after.
How did they rewind from this?
That is a tough rewind, but man, I got to say, if you're staring down at this match and you're like, well, let's just let it stand, and you know, all of a sudden there's top 8 seats going away. Wow.
I mean, it's based on what I see here, if that demonstration resolved and killed everything, I think Seth just wins from this spot, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So now perhaps Derrick has a bit of a chance here. It still looks like it might be tough if Seth can, he has an otter here. He's got a monument going. If he can find an interactive spell here, that would be great. Right now, Derrick doesn't have a spell that he can play. Does have 2 Storm Chasers talents and some spells in the graveyard. And Seth was able to find Soul Guide Lantern, so that would prevent... Oh, did not play it out here. Okay.
Paul, do you have a sense, coming into a complicated board state here about who is ahead or behind from a snapshot? I mean, this is a matchup that's relatively new to Standard. I think anybody who's going to be with us here tomorrow probably should get used to watching it. What are the things, what are the handholds that I should be looking for to say, okay, here's who's winning or at least ahead?
Yeah, so I mean, Seth has that important combination of Artist Talent plus Monument to Endurance here. He's going to try to fire off this Abandoned Attachments. That combination just allows you to draw a bunch of cards, drain your opponent down, and just kind of find what you need. So I feel like Seth is probably ahead. But on the other side, Derrick it's Derrick's turn. He's got a couple of otter tokens with the Grand trying to resolve an Abandoned Attachments. If he can use the attachments and string together maybe a removal spell for the otter on the other side, maybe an Accumulate Wisdom, he might be able to cast enough spells here to kill Seth Manfield. If he can't kill Seth on this turn, I feel like Seth will have a pretty firm lead.
Derrick's down to 5.
Now, Seth did find a negate here. That is huge.
It's like 2 of them even.
Yeah, so you can use the treasure token here to negate the Abandoned Attachments. Now remember though, Derrick Davis still has 2 copies of Storm Chaser's Talent. They're both on the 1st level. Has the mana to pay 4 mana to get something back from his graveyard and cast it. I see a Firebending Lesson. I see a Boomerang basic. So, still possibly a chance. So let's see here. That's 1 prowess trigger, right? That's 4 damage from the otters, 1 from the Grand. You get back Boomerang basics. You cast that, that would be 7 damage.
And that's to get the other otter off the board?
You could get the otter off the battlefield. Unless you need to cast another spell, then maybe you get something else back. Maybe if there's an Accumulate Wisdom in the graveyard, you cast that to try to find an interactive spell. That could also be a path you can take. It's very close.
And this seems like a tough decision here for Manfield, who's deciding whether or not to negate, and he's going to go for it.
Now, here's my question. Does Seth have the ability to generate... Was that treasure already in play?
I believe it was when he passed.
So then he can actually rummage and make another treasure off of the monument and then possibly keep up negate. Although he would have to rummage away the negate, right? So
that would be the last card left. Yeah, you're right.
How many Storm Chasers?
You have 3 Artist Talent triggers.
Artist Talent triggers. Okay. I will
Rummage away the negate.
okay.
Discard, draw, make a treasure.
Okay.
So he does have that treasure available.
Treasure is back. Remember, he can also find an interactive spell. A combustion technique would also make it very difficult for Derrick to win on this spot. 2 more rummages on the stack.
That's what Derrick said. You had 3.
So we made a treasure, so we can drain Derrick down to 2, and also draw an extra card. I imagine you're going to draw the card first. And I don't know how many more negates are in Seth Manfield's hand because he discarded 1, and there's 1 on the stack. And I think he's got 2 in the board, so. And he finds a firebending lesson, but rummages that away here as well because he wants triggers from the Monument Endurance. And he's going to choose draw card here to have 2 cards in hand.
Okay, and so that's
So the negate's resolved.
that's 3 to you, by the way. So down to 2 goes
Okay.
Davis.
So Davis has to win this turn.
Right. Any spell from Manfield, the Monument will just kill Davis.
Right. And
But
so
Seth is completely tapped out, right?
he does have
he has
a treasure. But he just has an Artist Talent.
So he doesn't have a proactive spell.
Can Derrick find something here? Remember, this is he's representing 5 damage, but still needs to attack through the Otter. This is a huge, huge turn. What can he find in the graveyard? I think that might be an Accumulate Wisdom. If it is, he's probably going to cast that and then try to find a 1-mana spell. Now, if he can find a Boomerang Basics, he will win this game.
Can he find it right now? He found another Accumulate Wisdom.
And a stock up. I don't think that gets it done. What's the 3rd card?
He's gonna loot here. He can find an instant.
He can still find something.
Yeah, draw.
Nope, that's not it.
Oh,
That's
is he gonna
not
be
it.
that short here?
Yeah, you're gonna block an Otter, and Seth is gonna go down to like 4 life or something, and then he's gonna be able to get the final trigger off the Monument here to burn Derrick Davis out.
And Derrick has to just, hope that Seth has 2 lands in hand and has drawn another or something?
I mean, there's a Storm Chaser's Talent on 1.
Oh, yeah, so it's just GG.
Yeah, that is.
Oh, my.
Wow.
Seriously that close. And
So
Derrick Davis
close.
has to say, go.
And he played to his outs. He gave himself an excellent chance. He looked 4 cards deep to try to find an answer to the Otter to have enough prowess to win.
And that's going to do it. Seth Manfield secures the top 8 seat and wins his winning in. That is Derrick Davis taking back-to-back losses to the team from TCG player here as well. That's rough.
That is a rough way to kind of keep things going. You know, of course, starting out at 8-0, and now things are starting to fall apart. If he continues playing against these Monument lessons that you can see.
You can tell it's taking the toll on
This
him.
is brutal. He just needs 1. He's already had 2 win-ins. Now he still has 2 more. But if you're Seth Manfield, another opportunity to be a world champion. Must feel excellent. 2 members of Team TCG Player now locking up a spot into the top 8.
That's right. And also, by the way, Seth, a prior world champion 2015, and we've got JED in there too. So
2 world champions.
Yeah, we might be ending up with double world championship. Great stuff there, Paul, from the feature match area, and incredible finishes as we start to wind down our day. We've got a few more rounds to bring you here. We're going to be taking a break, but when we come back, we're going to have a lot more from the World Championship here in Bellevue. Don't you go anywhere.